Okay, so today I just wanted to talk about the Celtics and how I think they're completely fine. They're just in a slump. First things first, I just wanted to say if you like this video, give me a like. I'm going to try and start beating my previous high. My previous high was 30 likes, and it was on my first video, so maybe my content's been going down since then, but we'll find out. 30 is the high to beat, so make sure to give me that thumbs up. Anyways, the Celtics have been losing some close games. They've been losing to some teams that they shouldn't be losing to, and people are starting to freak out. Even in a game like last night against Indiana, where they did pull out a win. They had a big lead, they almost blew it, and it's making some people feel uneasy as we head towards the playoffs. I think it's as simple as being healthy, and also the lack of health forces players into roles that they're not normally used to having, and that's going to affect your wins and losses. You can't expect a guy like Semi Ojeleye to come in and produce the way that, say, Jaylen Brown would. It's just not going to happen. I think it's just your typical skid. We're just too talented. Like, let's go through it. Is Kemba a good player?
Yep.
Is Tatum a good player?
Yep.
Is Jaylen Brown a good player?
Yep.
Is Gordon Hayward a good player?
Yep.
They're more than good players too. All of those people I just named, they're great. The thing is, when one or two of those guys is hurt, our weaknesses will show more, and our biggest weakness is by far the bench. They just need to do whatever they can do to get healthy, man, before the playoffs. Kemba's back, but like Kemba also isn't back, and what I mean by that, since he's come back, he has not been all that great. Specifically when it comes to his shooting percentage. He has shot under 40% in his past 10 games. It's actually closer to 30. He's shooting 31% from the field and 30% from three. And I just don't think that's going to last because that's not Kemba. I think being out for so long took him out of rhythm. And I also think he's not fully healthy yet. So I think that's going to change. I just think once everyone's healthy, and I hope we get to that point going into the playoffs, I think they're going to be tough to beat. I don't know why. It's like more so the Celtics fan base than any other Boston sport. It's like every time they lose, it's like the earth's crust is like crumbling and we're all gonna fall in. I mean, some of the comments I see after some of these losses, like, don't get me wrong, they're bad losses and stuff, but it's just ridiculous. Like this guy tweeting good things about the Celtics after the past couple games, question mark, bold. As if they're not a good team anymore. I literally tweeted, are they a good team at somebody, question mark, and they said, pretty low bar. Another person said no. Another person said no, they are a second round exit just like last year. Awful training staff plus awful bench equals not happening. Let's enjoy getting bounced in the second round again. At least Kemba will get to enjoy the playoffs. Out versus Philly round one. Stevens will probably be let go. We should have signed Rozier for $80 million less than we signed Kemba for. I mean, like, are we serious? Like, chill the hell out. I mean, this might be more wishful thinking than anything, but like, I honestly don't understand why Tacko isn't up from Maine and like on the bench. I feel like the big weakness of the bench is they don't have any like pure scorers. They don't have one or two guys that most good benches have come off the bench and just put the ball in the basket. They don't have bad players, but as a group when they're all on the floor together, when you don't have a scorer, it's tough to function in an offense. So like Tacko Fall, if he can come up and he can set good screens and gives guys space, if he can offensive rebound, and if he can score some baskets in the post, that's all we need. And it'll be producing more than what we're getting out of these guys right now. I honestly have no idea why he's not up, especially when he's putting good numbers up there. I saw the other day he had 16 points, 14 rebounds, and 9 blocks. So I just don't understand if a bench is a huge weakness, an area where they're struggling at, why wouldn't they bring up a guy who's doing well and should be able to give like a good energy boost coming off the bench. I think it's also important to note that some of the other good teams in the East are banged up. Giannis just went down the other night. There's something wrong with his knee. He's out for a couple games. I don't know how serious that's gonna be, but even if it's just something that nags him for the coming weeks going into the playoffs, I think that's pretty huge. And then currently, I have a feeling that the Celtics are gonna end up the 3 seed. I hope they end up with the 2, but I would put my money on them ending up 3. If the playoffs were to end today, they would play Philly in the first round. And while that doesn't sound ideal on paper, I just got a notification this morning Ben Simmons is out for at least another 3 weeks, and Joel Embiid is also banged up. So if the playoffs were to end today and we were to play a banged up Philly team, I like our chances there. And then theoretically, if everything goes the way we expect it to, the Raptors, we'd play the Raptors in round 2. And I think that would be a good series, but I also like our chances there too. So I still think they're going to make the Eastern Conference Finals. The health status of Giannis is definitely something to keep an eye on. Again, I'll talk about Bucks Celtics if we get there. But for now, I do like their chances to still make the ECF. I've seen a lot of people complain about, losing to bad teams. And I think I have noticed that a lot of the times the Celtics have played down to some of their competition. But the thing is, guys, in the playoffs, you play good teams, right? Or teams that earned their spot there. They are the better teams in the league. There's no bad competition to play down to in the playoffs. There's only the good competition. And the Celtics seem to play at their best, or at least better, against good competition, which bodes well being in the playoffs. What I think it's going to come down to is, can they execute in the playoffs? And an example of what I mean by that is, it seems like recently, especially, the fourth quarter has been a big weakness for them. And specifically, the last 2 minutes, if they need a bucket, it seems like they're taking an awful lot of bad shots. I don't know what it is. I don't know if there are specific plays that are being drawn up and they're just not working, or if Brad's just saying, hey, like, this guy's been, like, Tatum's been hot all game. Let's give him the ball and just let him do his thing. But regardless, I'm sick of seeing bad shots in the final minutes of games, and I think they need to get together and come up with a list of plays in those situations that they can go to, because there's probably going to be a lot of situations like that in the playoffs where they're going to need that. And if they know that's a weakness now, which it seems like they do, work on it. But yeah, bottom line is, I think people are overreacting to this. I think it's just a normal skid, just like any other team goes through. I'm really hoping that these guys get healthy, because I think they can do some real damage if they are. But yeah, those are my recent Celtic thoughts. What do you think? How far do you think we'll go? What are your thoughts on the stuff that's been happening recently? Let me know in the comments down below. As always, like and subscribe. Get me to 30 likes, and yeah.